Oh, it's delicious. I hate those things. Kumquats are delicious. It's good. It's like full of seeds. Are we supposed to do the tech or something?
I don't know. I think we need to wallow in our deep unprofessionalism.
Watch this dog video. All right, this is just a little note to everybody. We will eat and vape and drink and smoke if we want to, even though that's nasty. Vaping, this is all organic juice, so all you guys out there saying it's worse than smoking, yeah, in a lot of cases it is. This is not. I can't stand vaping, though. Let me get that out of here. But guys, we'll do whatever we want. And we're going to have fun, and we're going to bring you guys some content. And I'm not wearing khaki pants right now. That's just the bottom line. It's I am not wearing slacks. There we go. We like to have fun. I had to yell. I'm going to get trolled for this because I'm feeding the trolls right now. But
does the lack of slacks indicate that you're a slacker?
No, I believe the people that wear slacks are actually the slackers. I'm actually motivated. I'm not sure what genes.
Anti-slacker? Well, it is true that if you and an anti-slacker came together, it would be mutual annihilation.
There's our thumbnail. All right. If you guys haven't seen our Linux workstation build for Eric S. Raymond, I highly recommend that you go watch it. Video's doing pretty well, I think. It's a fun video. You guys will get the chance to hear a few things from Eric S. Raymond. And just stay tuned because we're going to be making several more videos with Eric S. Raymond. If you do not know who Eric S. Raymond is, Google him right now. All right, that's pretty much where I'm going to leave that. And we'll move right along.
And it's his cat.
Oh, his cat, yes. There'll be some videos of the cat as well. He's got a new cat. I believe it's part Maine Coon, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, you guys will meet the cat soon enough, probably right after CES. So that's coming up next week, and that's going to be insanity. Oh yeah, you know what? One more announcement before we move on and talk about this awesome, ridiculous Lego thing. On Epic Pants, we now have a design of the month that will be starting. Well, it's not right now, but it'll be starting in a couple of days. And each month, we're going to have one special design. So you guys can keep submitting designs. I love it when you guys submit designs because I actually send you money if you do to say thank you because it's awesome. But every month, we're going to have a design of the month. It's only going to be for that month, and then it's done. So however many we sell, that's it. So stay tuned for all that coming up like next week. It'll be fun. And thanks for making last year really awesome for the store and the website. All right, first video of the year. We had to do sappy crap. I'm sorry. It's over.
What? Yeah. Oh yeah, it is a new year, isn't it? What?
Yeah, it is.
I don't even. Every day is like the previous day. So whatever.
All right. So apparently, if you're a thief, it may be better to steal Legos than uncut diamonds, and here's why. Legos are extremely hard to trace. That's kind of funny. I mean, they don't actually have unique, identifying serial numbers on each one. It's just like, hey, you buy this Ninja Thing set or you buy this Star Wars set. Well, they're all going to be the same. You can just take as many as you like, and then, I mean, the thing that gets me is some of these people here are stealing Legos from Toys R Us to the tune of $200,000. What do you just walk in there? These things are not small. I mean, like uncut diamonds are small. These things are like huge, and they make you sound like a freaking garbage truck coming down the road with huh, I wonder if that person is stealing Legos. Nah, they must just be carrying around some silverware or something. I mean, how do you, I don't even know.
If you've ever had cause to go to like the customer service center at a place like Target or Walmart or whatever, it is more depressing than any human wasteland dystopian novel that I've ever seen. The way that it is somebody behind the counter who has already checked out years ago just doesn't care. And the people that are there at the return desk know that that person just doesn't care. And so if it's like, hey, I've got a box that vaguely resembles this box of Legos. It's filled with gravel dirt that I got from outside. Will you guys accept that for a return? It's like, yes. Oh, I don't know. I read a story about somebody watching somebody else return. You know those trifold like science project portfolios you get for your kids, and then they do like a science project, and it's like, this is my science project. It's like the big poster things. I read a story about somebody returning one of those that was used to Walmart, and Walmart was like, yeah, whatever, it's fine, we don't care. It's like, wow.
Doesn't even matter. You know what's really funny? Let me check this out. This is what a Lego thief looks like. These three people here. They're not nearly as sexy as what you would think, like a Eastern European diamond thief, I steal diamond, and you can't catch me. I was in Estonia this morning, but tonight I am in Egypt. That's a terrible accent. Everyone, I need to go to the Eastern European men's school to figure out how to get this accent down because it's not working for me. And I might, speaking of just totally off subject, I might actually sign up for the Estonia e-citizen thing. Have you seen that? Where you can just go on there, you sign up. You don't even have to go to Estonia. You sign up as an e-citizen, you get your card, and then you can get Estonian bank accounts and all kinds of different things, and use it as sort of a not really a European passport, but you can do a lot with it. And the infrastructure over there is interesting. So I might actually do the Estonian. If you're from Estonia and you know a little bit more about that, I would love an email from you because I'm actually quite curious about the e-citizenship thing. And you can have that while also maintaining your citizenship in your country because it's not exactly a, like, hey, I live here citizenship. It's a little different. But I don't know how. I went from Legos to that. This show is awful. Why are you watching it? All right. All right, this just in. Yeah, this is a Imager. That's where our content comes from now. But this is pretty true. Pepsi, get on it. It's 2015 right now. You know what that means. Old things are new again. Or were they already new in the first place, and now we just caught up to them. Let that strudel get stirring around in your noodle. All right, let's just move right along here. I think we've skipped one. So apparently in Microsoft Windows 10, Internet Explorer is going to be going away, and there's going to be something new right now. There's a code name for what they're working on called Spartan. But apparently it's going to be using a lot of the same technology. However, they did fork. What's the thing they were working on before? I've forgotten it. The Trident. They forked Trident into a couple different branches. So one's probably going to be this, and one is probably going to be Legacy, i.e. whatever. Because there's still going to be an Internet Explorer for backwards compatibility. But the thing with the new one, they're saying that it's finally going to have some amazing modern features, like, it's going to work with extensions and stuff like that. Like all the other browsers that have been out for the last 10 years. Neat. It's neat. It's innovative. Microsoft, very innovative. I'm glad. This
is not a technical move. Let's be clear about this. This is a branding move. Because when anyone who uses the internet sees Internet Explorer, they run the other way screaming. So this is about branding more than anything.
We've got to figure out some kind of a name to make sure that people know what it really is. Spartanet Explorer? No, it's not going to work. I don't have one. Someone in the comments will though. Maybe it's going to be cool. Maybe my biggest worry right now is that everything that has to do with Microsoft is going to be so integrated into Microsoft stuff that it's just going to be worse than Facebook as far as just hoovering data. I went British there for a moment, but just sucking up all your data, and then you're just going to be another number on a spreadsheet to them so that they can sell your data to someone else. So that's the thing that worries me about Spartan, and I know that Google does it a lot with Gmail, or not Gmail, of course Gmail, but also just Chrome in general. If you sign into Chrome, there you go. Been trying to use Pale Moon as much as I can lately, and then also versions of Chromium, but still, it's just, they kill you with convenience. So that's what's going to happen here. They're going to kill you with convenience and then suck up all your data, and then yay! That's how it's going to work, I'm pretty sure. All right, there's the Pepsi thing. Comcast. This is a quick note. If you have Comcast and you're not using your own modem, if you're using a modem that was provided to you, like the dude shows up and he's like, yeah, man, we're going to give you a modem, and then you're getting charged $10 a month. Don't do that. Those are crappy little modems. You can get better modems. We can talk about it in the forum. I'm using a Motorola Surfboard, one that's actually not supported by them, but it's the best, and you can make it work as long as you just tell them that it's a different model. It's funny, but it works. So anyway, I'm bringing this up right now because a lot of you guys are probably being charged for a modem even if you don't have one. If you're using your own modem, you should not be being billed. You should not be being billed? Yeah. I just got my bill and I noticed that it was about $30 higher than it should have been. So I started doing the math and looked at it, and I looked at it closer, and they're still charging me for a modem. The dude showed up with the freaking modem, and he's like, hey man, we're just going to install this. I was like, no. We're going to install this that I bought myself. It is mine, and we will use it. And he's like, oh, well, that's not going to work. But I was like, yes, it will. And we plugged it in. It worked. And he's like, well, I'll be damned, man. All right, well, I'll tell you what. I'll take this one back with me. It was an open box used, had no parts, nothing. Just this ugly beat up modem that they were going to charge me $10 a month for. It's probably worth $20, $10 in parts. And I'm still getting charged for it. Like a few months later, I didn't even notice until today when I saw this. I was like, let me just check and see if they're charging me, because yeah, they sure as hell are. So,
you know why that
Comcast
modem wasn't supported? It's because they couldn't run the free Wi-Fi on it that you pay for, that your neighbors can use for a fee.
That is one of the biggest problems with the Comcast modems, is they do that, and then also with the modem that they were going to give me, I would have no control to it, and it had 2 Wi-Fi antennas that were going to be on all the time, and they would not allow me to jump in, you know, like straight with IP. You know, they wouldn't let me jump in and tweak it at all. If I wanted to change anything, they told me I was going to have to call them, and someone on their end would basically SSH into it and change things. No, no, no. Why are we paying for it? Why? Anyway, that's enough of that. The Snowden interview that you may not have seen, but probably should have seen. Who interviewed him? Was this Der Spiegel, or who is this that interviewed him here? Anyway, there's a German just a German television. Der Spiegel did some of the reporting on this, but that's the write-up. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, there is a video that's been going around. It's a 30-minute interview with Snowden, recorded for German television, and it has been blackballed? Stonewalled?
It hasn't shown up in America for some reason. Yeah. We don't know why. Why would that be? Why would we not cover this? It's a really good interview. I don't understand.
Well, also, it's been, every time it goes up onto YouTube, it's taken down within moments. So now there's a live leak video here it's currently working. I think. Yeah, it's currently working. What do you know? So you guys should go take a look at this interview. It's not that different from some of the interviews he's had before, but he really goes into his motives and all that sort of thing, and the trouble he's having. And one of the key things about this interview that I think we should take away from this is that he keeps pointing out that the government's supposed to be working for us. And he's been labeled as a traitor when what he did was work for us. He worked for the public. He told the public a thing, and then they all called him a traitor. So he's like, well, if they're not actually working for you, then who are they really working for? They're supposed to be working for you.
It's more pointed than that. So the point here is a lot more focused. And so Snowden has said that the breaking point for him was having these complaints and being aware of other people in the NSA like Benny and other people that had sort of gone through normal channels to raise it. James Clapper, the director, testifying before Congress under oath, the question was, is there an apparatus in place spying on American citizens and collecting their data? And his answer was no, not wittingly. And if you watch the video, he knows he's lying. I mean, he's shaking and there's all kinds of stuff, and he's like, I'm going to say no, but all my body language and all that stuff is going to say yes. And the answer was yes, and we know that as a result of the Snowden leak. So the director of the NSA was lying to Congress, and nothing has happened about that. Whether or not you think Snowden is a traitor, there does seem to be a huge problem with that.
Watch the video now while you can. All right. Let's move on and talk about Comcast's worst nightmare. It's also probably Verizon, AT&T, and several other companies' worst nightmare. So Google, they wrote a little letter to the FCC, and they said, listen, if you guys reclassify as Title II, it is going to do wonders, and it's going to make it much easier and cheaper for us to upgrade. Because right now, we're having trouble getting access to the poles and the conduits and the tunnels and all that sort of thing because, Comcast won't let us touch their damn poles, and, someone else won't give us right of way to use the conduit. It's just like they're having to do way more work than they should have to do, and it's costing a lot more. So by reclassifying under Title II, they can use any pole they want to. It'll be much easier for them to spread fiber, which is going to be good for the economy. Overall, it may not be good for Comcast's bottom line because they can't control as much. But at the same time, Google's going to have to rent those poles, right? I mean, they'll have to rent some of the infrastructure, unless they're going to run their own. But
they've been burying the fiber. And so, the reality is that Google's actually been really cagey about whether or not they support Title II, because Title II on paper would be onerous, and Google's like, Title II, if we have to do all the crap in Title II, that's going to be a problem. But they also know that it's Wheeler in charge, so really, how bad could it be? Let's be honest here. And so this is sort of the most interesting thing to come out of Google, not because they're really like, yeah, Title II, or no, Title II, but they're so they're not as anti-Title II as the other organizations, they're not exactly pro either, but they're pointing out that under Title II, this would be a silver lining. And we've talked about this before in the context of you've got the small ISPs, especially in the northeastern United States. The small ISPs in those areas sell you telephone service, and you pretty much have to take the telephone service. And the reason they do that is the Title II classification for the telephone service. The fact that you get federal subsidies in a lot of cases, or state subsidies as the case may be, and those kind of things. And so these small ISPs are already using Title II to get access to the infrastructure. And so if larger ISPs have the option of taking Title II classification, then yeah, they get access to the utility pole infrastructure. And this is not a bad thing because it'll lead to more competition.
All right, let's go ahead and move on then. This is kind of a bummer. Gmail access has been blocked in China completely. Before, I mean, I guess it's been blocked since the middle of last year when we were there. I couldn't really get on Gmail. It was like one out of every 15 tries would actually connect to Gmail, but then it would take about 60 seconds just to do it. It would usually just time out. I guess POP and IMAP and those sorts of features would work if you were using a third-party application, but now they've totally blocked all of that thanks to shutting down a few IP addresses going through Hong Kong. And yeah, no one's really saying much about it. Like a lot of people are like, we don't, like even in China, they're like, we don't know. Maybe it's blocked. I don't know. Maybe I think so. Maybe I don't know. So even using a VPN in China was difficult. I had to use Viper VPN and use their really, really slow encryption that makes it difficult to tell if you're using a VPN. So it was a really big frustration, but it's just, I don't know. It's just sad to see China doing all this stuff. The internet could be...
Stop messing with the internet.
Yeah, the internet could be... I mean, if China would just chill out, the internet could be amazing. It's like the biggest superpower in the world now. As of this year, it will be the biggest monetary superpower in the world. So if they could just get on board, and there's probably a ton of developers there, and I'm sure they're doing things on networks that are legal in China and using services that are legal in China, but if they could just do whatever they wanted to, imagine the innovation that would come from China. That would be crazy. I mean, they're already innovating in a lot of other areas. So, and they're, yeah. All right, anyway. Moving right along, rant over there. Let's talk about the Vulcan death grip. The NSA's Vulcan death grip. I'm just going to touch on this because we've talked about these guys quite a bit. And I'm not really going to get into X key score too often much unless you want to, Wendell. But the bottom line here is the NSA is doing everything they can to compromise the security that we have. They are doing everything from trying to get as many encryption keys as possible, and they're trying to compromise services that, especially the VPN services that hand out a key on one end or the other. It's just the standard type VPNs. They've gotten pretty good at compromising those, but they just are doing everything they can to compromise Tor and VPNs and just everything else. But this is mainly about SSL, VPN traffic, and that sort of thing. I don't know.
And
anything else you want to...
SSL in some way. So yeah. Be sure to use standard protocols as best you can, and especially elliptic curve protocols, and especially protocols that don't involve a single shared private key. That's the big thing that Google has been doing over the last 6 months, is moving to a form of web SSL where the private keys are basically per client. So instead of having one master private key, the master private key is used in the creation of the keys that are used in the data exchange, but the master private key is not the end-all be-all key at once. So computationally, if you got the master keys, it doesn't really help you to decrypt all the traffic en masse. And so it will be important for SSL providers to do basically the same thing. And that's really, so if you see the Vulcan death grip in the news, read the article. That's what it's about.
I mean, that's one of the reasons that they're just building giant facilities like the one in Utah. So they can, if they can't break it right now, well, let's just keep gathering data, keep gathering keys, keep gathering everything we can, and we'll keep it there, and maybe we'll figure out a way to break it. So, yeah, that's fun, too. I wonder if MegaChat is going to be, a decent solution, because Kim Dotcom, he, of course, is just sick of the way things are going, and he claims that he's developing, there's a motorcycle going by, how about that? Claims he's developing MegaChat, and apparently some people are already using it, like I think Snowden and Julian Assange may be using versions of it. But it's supposed to be a fully encrypted video call and chat platform. And I mean, we'll have to see how good the encryption is, and he promises no backdoors. I was like, that was terrible. I'll try this again. There will be no NSA backdoors. Nope, that sounds like Dutch, or I don't know what it's. Not Dutch. It sounds Hungro-Australasian. That's the accent I was doing. Oh, that's terrible. This is motorcycle. I'm gonna go out there and clothesline him. I'm trying. He should stop what he's doing because I'm trying to do a thing here. I will clothesline him later. Anyway, so there's that. And then there's an interesting article over here on BGR. It just tells you what the NSA's worst nightmare was. There's a lot of nightmares. Comcast worst nightmare, NSA worst nightmare. Click on this, click on this. Interesting title, I did. So apparently it is a nightmare for the NSA when you use several services to hide yourself at the same time, like Tor, VPN, CSpace, ZRTP. Just use all that at the same time, and they say, quote unquote, it is catastrophic headache. It is a catastrophic headache. Man.
Excellent.
And right now they're trying to figure out the Excedrin migraine for the internet to fix this. You know, like that's what they're going to make. They're going to make Vulcan Netgrip and Excedrin migraine to fix this catastrophic headache.
One of the big things that they have trouble with is when things are peer-to-peer and not centralized. And so I thought it was interesting on one of the slides, they talk about Jabber. Jabber is sort of an open protocol, and it's used by a lot of instant messaging services. And so Jabber plus strong encryption is actually tough for, at least whenever this was made, was actually tough to compromise. So that's, you know, for whatever that's worth.
So if you really want to keep things private, you got to jump through about 4 or 5 hoops at the same time. I'm still not sure if I would recommend Tor, maybe the new thing that's coming out to replace Tor, but Tor with a VPN and several services on top of it probably is a little better. Just, I don't know how. I guess if they have an exit node and you're using a VPN to another VPN through Tor to an exit node on CSpace, that'll be a nightmare. Maybe. Even if they on the exit node, you still might bother them. What would you do?
I'd probably do a VPN to Tor to another VPN to the internet. But that second VPN has to be like not traceable in any way, and I don't know, that would be really tricky. Maybe maybe you could do a VPN to Tor to Usenet posts that somehow get consumed by another service, and then that is instructions to a botnet or something, and then continues on. I don't know.
You know what we need to do? We need to build like one of those card games that all the kids are playing these days. Like we need to build like a really nerdy card game where you sit there and try to build either the strong, like you try to build like the strongest firewall or the strongest no, you're not the strongest firewall, the strongest encryption, I guess, thing. What am I saying there? The strongest, most difficult to break chain of things. That's it. And then someone else has to try to hack into it with their tools on their cards, and it'll be like, oh, well, this one has a +3 to whatever, that Tor, and I've got 2 exit nodes over here, and you know.
Are there any migratory birds that go thousands of miles? Because maybe we could train some migratory birds to carry micro SD cards that have gigabytes and gigabytes of data, and it's like, good luck intercepting that.
That's all we need is freaking spooks out there shooting the birds out of the sky. Just shoot them all. We don't know what they have. Just shoot every bird on the ground. So and then the people will get clever and they'll start writing them on the inside of their feathers. So then they'll shoot the birds down, pull their feathers out. Then people will get clever and they'll sew the message into their stomach or whatever. And then it's just going to keep going on and on. It's never going to stop. But what the bottom line is here is that even if they send people out to shoot the birds, they're going to come up with another method. It's a never-ending thing. People want their privacy as a natural right, so they're going to continue to do things to take back their privacy. So yeah. Anyway,
one can only hope. Dear Randy, I have sent Jules along with a 32 gigabyte flash card. He should be to your New York location in 3 to 7 days.
You know what? We got some more privacy worries. This one's not as bad. It's a little different. But now the new smart power grids that are going to be sending back data, and sometimes at a very high frequency, they're going to be sending back data to the power companies. Well, the power companies may be able to take this data and sell it for more than the value of the data or the power that you're consuming, because they're going to be able to find out very personal things by looking at this data. They're going to be able to say like, oh, at around 3 o'clock, it looks like there's probably at least 3 people home, judging by the power use. They probably have 2 or 3 fridges. It looks like there's someone playing a video game and watching television at this time, and they may even be able to tell kind of what you're watching on TV based upon the the frequency of updates that are going back to the smart box thing. That's kind of far-fetched, but it just looks like it's another way for them to sell a bunch of data that's personal to you to different third-party companies and make a buck off of it. Interesting.
Yes. And if you don't, there's actually there's an Adafruit project about making your home smart and tracking your energy utilization through your central heating and air and that kind of thing. And I was blown away. Like, I was looking at this and I was like, how much data can you how much insight can you really get on this? And they had,
a lot.
with just the information from the electric utility, they were able to pin down the time that people got up in the morning, when they took a shower, just huge amounts of personal detail about how an individual person lives their life. And that's problematic. I'm not sure that an individual is leaking that kind of data is a little disconcerting.
Speaking of saving power, let's go over to the EU, and we'll leave that one alone because it's going to get sad. The EU now has some new rules for pretty much any household gadget that's sold after, what is it? Pretty soon. I don't know. A couple days ago. I don't know. But now all devices, when not in use, have to sleep. They have to go to sleep. I mean, that could save 25 to 100 watts per device per day, depending on the type of device and that sort of thing. And that's also going to help with a lot of the devices that have like always on components, and they're always updating things from the internet, and they're always phoning home, and they're always listening and that sort of thing. So I imagine a bunch of companies are going to freak out about that because they'll be like, no, our devices, the microphone, we were really enjoying those conversations. So
they're allowed to use to use some standby power, but the amount of power they're allowed to use in standby is very small. And so that'll mean that they'll have to use, like for a low voltage device that requires, 5 volts or 12 volts, you sometimes see them referred to as wall warts. It's a transformer that goes on the wall that takes, 120 or 208 or 240 or whatever your line voltage is, and steps it down to a reasonable amount of DC voltage. That's where most of the inefficiency is in small appliances, and that is what these EU laws are specifically targeting. That and televisions, because for some reason, flat screen televisions use an obscene amount of power when they're off for whatever reason. And you can probably feel that by go to your television that's off, put your hand on the back. It's probably warm. The EU doesn't like that because that's using a lot of power unnecessarily. The heat's got to come from somewhere, and turns out it's from you're paying the electric bill for that. So
you have to keep them warm, or else they won't start. You'll have to wait like 5 minutes for them to start. That's what I always heard. You gotta keep them warm. There's heating coils in there. It's not actually the TV that heats up. It's the heating coils. This is all true.
It's kind of funny.
Everything I said is true.
That's kind of almost true with first-gen plasma TVs, but we won't talk about that.
You have to pull start them or crank start them. Some people have the crank start. I like the pull start ones because they're like, and you're like in there just trying to start the TV, and you're pulling the choke, and someone else is in the other room making a sandwich. Like, what the hell are you doing in there? Like, I'm about to miss my freaking show. The TV won't crank start or pull start, or it's funny.
Meanwhile, there's that guy in Estonia watching and being like, I can't believe you Americans paid $2,000 for television. What is wrong with you? And it's like, well, we got to have enough money for the family to live inside the TV to maintain it. I mean,
we were too poor to afford a furnace, so what we could have is this television set that provides entertainment and heat for our family. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin, shall we? First, I want to start with I'll let you start with this article here about Satoshi, Hal Finney, and Roger Ver.
Well, okay, so there's a lot of crime happening on the internet this week that we thought we would want to talk about. And some things are happening, well, in the DDoS thing and in the Bitcoin thing. And so we thought we would start the conversation off with some stuff was happening with Bitcoin. And this is a while ago, but the FBI in America is investigating some Bitcoin extortion. Some early Bitcoin adopters apparently have been extorted or attempted to be extorted with people that are saying, hey, I know who you are and where you live, and I want you to give me some Bitcoin, or I'm going to publish that or whatever. And so one of the people was like, all right, how about I put a bounty on your head for that amount of Bitcoin? And then they were like, oh, well, maybe that's not a good idea. Oh, and so that sort of leads into the Winklevoss. You remember the Winklevoss twins, the people that sued Mark Zuckerberg because they invented Facebook or something. I don't know. They have this huge hoard of Bitcoin. Well, they're apparently going public. We don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess the idea here is that you just put it all into a trust, because they're looking at Bitcoin and they're like, yeah, you know what, Bitcoin's gone down in value. They probably bought them at a point in time when it was like, oh, this is awesome. And then they're like, shit, man, we're losing money. What are we going to do? We need to make our money back. So they're like, put it into a trust, and then we'll put that onto NASDAQ. And then people who are not sure how Bitcoin works and have no idea can buy into our Bitcoin trust. And as the value of Bitcoin goes down, we will profit from it because the value of our trust, etc. You know, then they can rebuy the Bitcoins, and it's freaking genius. It's good business.
You there, Jeeves? I would like to buy some Bitcoin. I'm sorry, sir. I don't know where to procure a miner.
Try NASDAQ. All right, you ready to talk about the tunnel snakes? There's a whole...
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm kind of upset that we even have to, but I think we kind of have to for multiple purposes. But these dumbass kids probably don't deserve the time of day, but they're getting it anyway. And they're probably going to regret doing these things, you know, by the time their lives are ruined by the FBI in a few years. But for now, it's fun to watch. Come at me, bro. Anyway, Lizard Squad, or better known as the Tunnel Snakes, they have created a DDoS attack tool, and they're charging $6. I believe it's $6 a month for it. So now you can just use their tool. It was like a botnet, right, Wendell? And then you just...
Yes.
Which is very unsavory activity, I believe. Yes. So
it's a botnet for rent, basically.
So not only are they compromising tons and tons of PCs, they are renting the abilities of those PCs out. That's really, really freaking shady, man. And they're going to make money from it. So apparently a lot of the hacks that they've been doing are the ones that, you know, really generated a lot of press and caused some companies to lose millions of dollars. I mean, like if the PlayStation Network goes down on Christmas, people can't go onto the store and buy things. That could be millions of dollars in revenue lost because everyone's got their shiny new PlayStation. They want to go onto the PlayStation store and buy Journey or some indie game that is available digitally. So they're doing some major damage that makes it criminal, that makes the FBI angry. But they use that. I think part of it was they were using that as a marketing tool for this thing, because now everyone's talking about them, including us, and they're selling a service. So now any idiot with $6 in their pocket can pay with Bitcoin and DDoS whoever they want.
I'm not really sure
whomever they want, maybe.
The reason, the reason that we talk about it, or that we're going to talk about it, is that there is sort of a security issue on the internet, and it's not really like a denial of service doesn't involve exploiting a security hole. Like we talked about, you know, we had an episode about Heartbleed and these and some other vulnerabilities like that. And those types of vulnerabilities involve exploiting bugs in software. Well, these botnets exploit people that have insecure machines, or they've downloaded malware or something. And so somebody else controls their machine. And, you know, there are enough of them that they've basically, these people in Lizard Squad basically have an army of zombie machines. And so think about what happens with that in the real world. Like if you, I don't know, go on the internet and say, hey, this guy at this location is giving away free cars to the first 10,000 people to get there, then, you know, that location is going to be mobbed. And that's basically what these people are doing with these zombie computers, is that they're just telling the zombie computers, is like, hey, everybody go here and cause as much trouble as you possibly can. But even more than 10,000, it might be 100,000, it might be 1 million. Some of these computers have been taken over because of malicious ads, poorly run ad networks and things like that. And so all of this stuff really comes back to just poor security. And that's what, you know, these kids are like, oh, this is poor security. We want to improve things. But at least in America, there's sort of been a chilling effect as far as security researchers go, because over the years, security researchers would actually infiltrate these botnets and disrupt them. And that doesn't really happen as much anymore because, you know, the federal authorities, at least here in America, have jumped the gun a few times and raided people who were the researchers that took over the botnets and shut them down, you know, sort of Wild West style. And, you know, whether or not that's right, that's another conversation. But this is the result of that. Like, the security is so weak and so lax that a lot of people run, even though they've got really powerful machines. This is becoming a real nuisance, a real problem. And so we, the people in the know watching this video, sort of owe it to our friends and family to help them not be a part of that botnet. And if we did that, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
So I mean, some of the stuff they're doing, it is indeed criminal, and we do need to share some of this information. We need to teach people out there. I mean, if you guys don't already know, we need to probably teach them how to snort their packets and stuff and see what's going on. But anyway, all this Lizard Squad nonsense. Okay, one member's already been arrested by the UK police. The charges, he's already out though. I'm not sure what's going to happen. He was charged with unauthorized computer access with intent to commit other offenses, which sounds really not that bad. I mean, it sounds like they're going to spank him. Like, stop it, you 12-year-old, stop it. But then, here's his mugshot, by the way. Let me just go ahead and get this. Yep, there he is. Tunnel Snake mugshot. That's him right there from the UK. Nice leather jacket. All right, dude, looking snazzy. But the FBI now is after the Lizard Squad. And you know what's really funny? I mean, they're after him because of the damages that have been caused. They consider this to be a criminal offense because, you know, this could be millions of dollars in damages from the servers that they've attacked. And they didn't really even get into, I mean, the FBI report didn't really get into the fact that they were compromising, you know, other machines. They didn't really talk about the botnet. They of course, they don't even know how that stuff works. They're like, oh yeah, you're taking money out of Sony's pocket. You're taking money out of Microsoft's pocket. That's an American company. You're screwed now, buddy. And take a look at the you know, the Lizard Squad here, the freaking Tunnel Snakes. I don't know why I keep calling them the Lizard Squad. They're the Tunnel Snakes. Their response on Twitter was just yawn, and then a link to the article. Yeah, you'll have plenty of time to yawn when you're sitting in a jail cell down by the river.
Like, honestly, come on. We got better things to do with our time.
Yeah, why don't you guys go out there and actually create something that benefits the world? That would be a challenge right there. I challenge you guys to actually go out, use your technical abilities, and, you know, do something good that will benefit humanity and also make some money. You're obviously resourceful. You obviously have some good ideas. And you obviously have purposes that may or may not be ill-advised purposes. But, I don't know, go use your stuff for something. You don't even care. They're not even going to listen. Why am I even talking? They're also attacking Brian Krebs. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the funny thing is that Cisco and the Internet Engineering Task Force actually have some really good ideas that go all the way back to the year 2000 for helping mitigate, prevent, and detect denial of service attack type activity. It's just that regional ISPs and large ISPs have never implemented the protocols or have never implemented the it's a best practices document. It's like here's the best practices for how you should set up your core and edge routers in order to deal with, you know, blah, blah, blah. And no one apparently has done that, or that would help mitigate the problem.
Anyway, Brian Krebs has also been targeted by them. His website finally went down. They've been attacking him for months, but he's the guy who originally, you know, posted a blog article outing them. So I think that's kind of funny that the website finally went down. So he must have some pretty decent security if they've been going at it for 4 months and they finally just took him down. But his website was only down for a little while. So Brian Krebs, KrebsOnSecurity.com is the website here. If you guys want to take a look at it, and it loaded up nice and snappy just now. So, seems like he's doing okay to me. Krebs on Security.
Like,
wow, his latest article here. Wow, his latest article right here is a long trail of fail about the tunnel snakes. There it is. All right, this article you sent over, the 6 dumbest ideas in computer security. Again, this is just something you guys can read if you want to, but it's going to reiterate, you know, take care of yourself on the internet. Be safe out there. Practice safe surfing. But some of these are funny. Any of them you want to highlight?
No, this is a really old document. This document is about 10 years old now.
Still fun.
And it's still fun because it's like, oh, we should by default permit things. Now, the takeaway here is that the amount of crap on the internet is increasing faster than the amount of good stuff. And so you need to filter the crap.
Yeah, I wonder what this chart would look like if they updated it to today's numbers instead of, I mean, this is like back from 2000. So yeah, I'd like to see how it is now. Anyway, let's move right along and talk about this Marriott nonsense with their Wi-Fi. You know what? I don't really want to talk about this, but basically Marriott wanted to block Wi-Fi. They got a lot of bad personal Wi-Fi because they want to sell you access to their premium Wi-Fi for way too much money, which is ridiculous. But they're trying to block personal Wi-Fi hotspots. And now, since they've been receiving so much bad press, they're saying, no. We only want to block it in like meeting areas and places like that, which I don't know why they would want to do that, but they still want to block. And a lot of other, you know, hotel chains want to block it as well because they were giving it away for free at one point, and then some guy came in with a funny suit and suspender, and he's like, free? You guys are giving away this stuff for free? People will pay for this. Why are you giving it away for free? So that's what happened. Exactly, verbatim. You know,
the
board meeting.
The situation here. So on the face of it, it's like if you're in the Marriott conference hall, your only option is to use their Wi-Fi infrastructure. And it's like, on the face of it, that doesn't seem completely unreasonable. But the reality is that Wi-Fi travels over 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. That spectrum is open to the public. It is an unlicensed spectrum. It is not okay for them to interfere with your signal intentionally because that airwave space is open to the public. It is my right as a public citizen to make use of that frequency for my own personal needs. Now they're saying, oh well, you know, somebody can impersonate the meeting Wi-Fi, and we really want to shut that down, and you know we want to protect people, make sure they're using legitimate stuff and that kind of thing. And while there might be a modicum of truth to that, that's really a non-answer. No. And so, because it's a 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, they should not be allowed to do this. This is the first step on a slippery slope of insanity. And the fact that they're using 2.4 gigahertz public airwave spectrum for Wi-Fi, all Wi-Fi is 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz. 5 gigahertz is also the part that's used for wireless, is also unlicensed. It's our public right. It's our rights as citizens to use that frequency. They can't say, no, you can't use that when you're in the meeting halls. No, I can use it anywhere except for restricted space around airports and military bases. But even around airports, it's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the FCC has to say about this, because they have put in a special request with the FCC to be allowed to block in this publicly free spectrum. So, I mean, what if the FCC comes back and they're like, you know what, while they're in Marriott, Marriott's kind of a sovereign nation, so you can do whatever you want there. That's almost what I'm expecting from the FCC, to be like, oh no, businesses should have the right to control inside there. You know, how could it be public if it's not in a public place? Inside of Marriott's not a public place, so let's let them do whatever they want. What if that's what they come back with? That's what I think they're going to do.
That's going to be the reasoning, yes, but that doesn't. I mean, it's still, it's like I can have a little you know, a hotel room is not a public space either. But I can, you know, if I'm leasing a hotel room or renting a hotel room or whatever, I can use the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum to have device A communicate with device B. That's my right. I didn't give up wireless airwave rights when I rented a room. So at least that's how it's always worked. So we'll see if they try to do an end run around that, because that's how it's been since radio was invented.
Are you ready to move on and talk about some hardware?
Yes.
All right, let's do that. The Nvidia GTX 960, the one that didn't come out because you guys are buying the 980 and the 970 so much, so it didn't even come out for the holidays. They're like, you know what? We're going to cannibalize our own sales, man. So anyway, it's going to be coming out probably next month, and the specs are out. They're here. I haven't seen any test results yet. So yeah, the GM204 is what's down here. That's not the right that's not even the right thing there. So yeah, it's going to have a smaller memory bus. The thing that's kind of got me worried about this more than anything else is it's only going to come with 2 gigabytes of RAM. There's some rumors that it was going to be, you know, 3 or 4 gigabytes of RAM, but it's only going to come with 2 gigabytes of RAM. And for some of the games coming out over the next few years, 2 gigabytes of RAM with filters on, it's going to choke on 1080p gaming. Just some of the newer games. Most of the older games, you're going to have to turn the filters off. You'll be able to play any game maxed out probably at 1080p without filters, but you start turning on some sampling and that sort of thing, and your GPU memory is going to be like, ugh, I'm dead. I can't do it. 2 gigabytes, done, over. So,
or just
I guess
high
I'll have to
res.
get a 970 or a 980. Yeah, big textures and that sort of thing, not going to work out. All right. Anyway, it could be interesting. Go ahead.
Well, on the current generation of cards, the game, at least from my testing, the new Wolfenstein, the new enemy.
No, that's not enemy. I would say enemy territory. That's like that old multiplayer game that was pretty fun. And that was Quake.
Yeah, I don't remember what, but it had texture pop. But the texture pop wasn't as bad if you had a card with more memory, at least for the resolution I was running it at. So I thought that was interesting.
Had to fill that buffer up. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this new monitor that we may be seeing at CES. LG has a new 21 by 9 34-inch monitor, the resolution 3440 by 1440, so it's 21 by 9 1440p monitor. And get this, it's going to support FreeSync. So we have a few monitors coming out finally that support the AMD. Well, it says AMD FreeSync, but really it's an open standard that anyone can use. It's just adaptive VSync. It's going to be like the same as G-Sync. But guess what? Nvidia can use FreeSync, and I wonder if they could just update their current drivers to work with FreeSync. And I wonder if they will do that.
The answer is yes. Will they? Turns out the answer is probably not.
Nvidia, man. Nvidia, you got 2 pieces of homework assignment from me. I bought the company, by the way, so now I'm calling shots. So the things you need to do right now, you need to make Linux driver installation much easier on all versions of Linux. Just make it so you double-click it, and it's like, hey, we're going to do some crap, and your screen's going to go black, and then everything's going to be fine. And, you know, it can do all the crap that I had to do last night. Last night we installed it on Linux Mint, and in order to get the 980 to work, we had to go and get some beta drivers that didn't install as easily as we thought. It kept crashing Cinnamon. And so then I realized that we needed to... what actually ended up happening, halfway through you have to... I'm not even going to get into it. Your screen goes black halfway through the installation, and that's it. But there's still more stuff to do. And with our hardware configuration, we could not do anything else. All we could do is reboot. So I had to get on my machine, on Windows, open up a putty session, SSH back into the Linux box, and finish up the installation since the screen was black. And basically the graphics session had ended. So that's how we got it installed. It worked. It worked, but who the hell's going to do that? I mean, can you tell me that someone who's never owned a Linux system before is going to be like, well, let me just play some games on Linux. Great, I've got my new Nvidia 970 or 980. Let's play some Linux games. Metro works great. Bioshock works great. And they're going to sit down and be like, all right, now all I have to do to get this to work correctly is SSH into my machine from a different machine, and it'll be easy. No one ever said that, NVIDIA, so make it easier. And then also take advantage of free things like FreeSync and Mantle. I know you guys can do it. It'd be awesome. You've already got, you know, good market share. Stock's doing well. Just takes advantage of a few free things for the love of God. Sorry.
Meanwhile, I'm over here on Team Red, and it was basically a painless installation.
It's like, would you like to game? Click yes. Was that pretty much what it was?
Pretty much. Yeah. It's like, oh, would you like the drivers to go really fast with Bioshock? And it was like, all right, that sounds good. Click. Yeah, it's doing some stuff. Oh, I got to reboot. Oh, I don't know. All right, so I'll reboot. And then it's like, oh my God, it's so fast. My face is melting. What's happening?
All right, next Linux rig I build is going to have an AMD graphics card. NVIDIA. It could have an NVIDIA card, but it's not. It's waving my finger like I actually have a say in this. All right. Let's move right along here and talk about this new laser weapon. Lasers! So there's actually a laser on a, I believe it's on a battleship. What's the name of the boat here? Where is it? The USS Ponce. Like Ponce de Leon? Ponce? Or is it if you're from Texas, it's the Ponce? I don't know.
I wonder if it's named after that guy that was on that show about those cops that were the highway patrol chips or something. It's like, oh, it's Headless Punch.
I don't think they've even, maybe, yes. I've decided yes. All right. So anyway, then now there's a laser on there. And according to the Genevan Convention, is it the Genevan Convention? I think so. They said, hey, listen, nobody can use lasers to kill other people. So we don't need people like raining down lasers from the sky and killing each other. So they can only use it to kill drones, disable ships, and send warning shots. Because the laser is extremely cheap to build. And it's also very cheap to fire. It costs about $1 US every time they fire the damn thing. Now here's the thing. You can turn the intensity up and down. So if someone's coming up and you're like, hey, stop it. We're going to blast you with our laser, like G.I. Joe style, like, you know, that's happening on the other side. Red laser, blue laser. So that's what's going to be happening in 10 years. But anyway, right now, you can send a warning laser blast that's an extremely intense, bright, you know, laser. Like, it's like the biggest laser pointer in your eye ever. You send that and be like, all right, this is going to be, next time it's going to set you on fire, okay? So just a warning, we've got freaking laser beams. Do you have laser beams? No, because you're not America. That's the way. That's what's going to be happening in the megaphone.
This is the beginning. You guys that are into military technology, watch, because the sci-fi books that you read when they talk about the effectiveness of the Air Force basically going away. This is the beginning of it. In a few generations, having an Air Force or having an insanely powerful Air Force is basically going to be a moot point. Even having supersonic missiles and weapons like that, it's going to be a moot point. When you've got technology that can track a hummingbird at 30,000 feet and you've got this kind of laser technology, you pretty much can take out any air superiority with your lasers. So it's going to be interesting for how things develop on the world theater.
Meanwhile, we just developed like another $11 billion aircraft. It's fun, and its cannon doesn't even fire and won't fire for another couple of years, but it's flying. You know, its main machine gun or whatever, I don't know, its main cannon. It's not even a story we're talking about. Let's just move on. I did this. Okay, dear, we're moving right along here. Oh, drunken birds. You want to hear some drunken birds? Angry drunken birds are really dangerous, but these are not angry. The birds, it turns out, are not angry drunks.
I will play for you a notable song from a recorded on July 25th.
Yeah. Let's skip through.
Next, this same bird
okay, fine. I skipped it.
Series of repeated motifs.
Play the bird song.
Consisting of several syllables.
Here we go. Sounds like a rap song.
Next, this same bird recorded at
basically the long and short of it is when you get a bird that has consumed alcohol, they begin to slur their song, just like a person would slur their speech.
I'm gonna play the slur now. Here we go.
And alcohol. Its blood alcohol content was 54 milligrams per deciliter.
All right, go ahead, play it.
What we can do.
That was so drunk. That bird is wasted. I couldn't even tell the difference, but I'm sure it was wasted. I'm sure if we look at the waveforms, we can tell it's wasted. Wasted birds.
I can tell by some of the pixels and doing some shops in my time.
The waveform. They shopped the waveform and made him a drunk, but I don't even know. Gaming. You guys need to check out this Skyrim. You know, it's been like how many years? 4 or 5 years since Skyrim came out? And we're still talking about Skyrim because of the modding community. You guys are awesome. You turned this console game into a PC game. And man, it is like the biggest bucket of bolts ever that just keeps falling apart and pieces keep falling off. And you're like, put it back on, mod it back on. It's falling apart again. So there's a team who's been bringing back some interesting stuff from older versions of Skyrim. They brought back some of the Redguard stuff before, and I forget what else. The Homeland of the Bretons, they did that one. And now they're bringing back Bruma from Oblivion, one of the interesting snow cities. Looks pretty good. And apparently there's going to be like some new voice acting, some new stories. So if you're interested in extending the gameplay a little more, that is before what's Nerim, Enderal, I believe it is, comes out. That's going to be the big one. You guys can download and install this. Beyond Skyrim, Bruma. Some people say Bruma, but I say Bruma because I'm an idiot. All right, last thing to talk about here. Oh, the Birdcage. This is in one use over here. Well, this is not even about games, but...
Oh, well, I was looking at, maybe we could do a roundup or something for games in 2015. Like, what games in 2015 did you like? And I was looking back, and it was like, wait a minute, all these games, all the AAA titles and all the stuff that did really well, not all of it, but a lot of it, in 2015 for games were all part of franchises. And I had read this article, which doesn't have anything to do with technology. It's talking about Hollywood and movies. And it's talking about how Hollywood sort of has a toxic addiction to franchises in movies, and that the space movie was the only original movie that was not of the top 10 movies this year. What
was that space movie called? I forgot what it's called. They shot that in like IMAX, I think, right? I forgot what it is too. I didn't see it. I haven't seen a movie in years.
It's not Inception. It's the Interstellar.
Yeah.
There we go. Starts with an I. My brain works weird.
Albert wanted to drive like 4 hours to go see it on IMAX. I don't think he ever got around to it though, but he was really excited about just seeing. He just wanted to see the quality of the film, because they shot it on that massive, film, 75 millimeter or whatever.
All the other top 10, part of a franchise. And so I was thinking about this, and so this is a question for you guys. This is a question for the audience. We're doing that thing again. What was your favorite game of 2015 that actually came out in 2015, and why?
You mean 2014?
Or 2014, yeah. what game came out in the last 2 days? We might do a video on it. I don't know, maybe, possibly. Or maybe that's something good for WASD. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're actually going to be. I think the ending to the last episode of WASD or WASD, they are all correct. We've decided. I say WASD.
Unlike the pronunciation of GIF, which is GIF, and no.
If one more person corrects us on how to say something correctly, like, you guys are saying it correctly, stop it. No. Anyway, nobody does research.
Been working in the, I forgot. Not sorry. We can cut this out. But
no, this is going in.
Well, I've almost got the genetic coding right for those miniature pet giraffes, so we can have one of those maybe running around the next videos.
Right. A giraffe. Watch out for that thing. It'll take your head off. Yeah. Anyway, back to the whole. The WASD episode. So the next WASD episode, they're actually going to be talking about your favorite games from 2014. They're going to talk about their favorite games from 2014. It is interesting. Most of them seem to be from franchises, at least the big AAA titles. I think my favorite game from 2014 was either Gunpoint or Nidhogg. One of the two. Gunpoint was really fun, but it wasn't long enough. So it also wasn't difficult enough, but I still had a ton of fun with it. And it's had this tongue-in-cheek noir, just silly humor. I mean, over-the-top goofy humor that I loved. But it was just a very cheesy little 2D game with some interesting mechanics that I haven't seen before in a game. So check out that game, Gunpoint, for sure. And then Nidhogg, if you have a couple of people. This is a game that's especially fun if you have a couple of people who can sit down beside each other. We play on 2-player on one keyboard. You can do it over the net as well, but it's so much fun. And you start turning on the mutators like low gravity and boomerang sword mode. So when you throw your sword, it comes right back at you after a second. You have to duck and run. So it's the most ridiculous amount of fun, and there'll probably be lots of screaming and throwing things. So I don't know. Those are my favorite games for the year. I didn't have a lot of time to play some of the deep and involved narrative experiences and that sort of thing, but I hopefully will soon. Anyway,
there's some really good early access and beta games, and those maybe should be left out, but maybe not. I don't know. Put them anyway. We'll see what happens.
Yes,
yeah, they're going really interesting. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If not, I was gonna take another hit of this, but I hate it. It's nasty. I don't know why people do this, but hey, some people like custard, and who am I to judge if they want blueberry custard, smoke or vapor? in their mouth. Do whatever they want. And who are you to judge?
I've got to go do something. I've got to go do something much more fun. I'm going to go build a workstation that's got 10 gigabit Ethernet.
Good. Yes. It has dual 10 gig Ethernet, right?
It has dual 10 gig Ethernet, so this is going to be a lot of fun.
All right, so that's the end, everybody. See ya. Don't wear slacks unless you have to for work. In which case, wear slacks, but don't be a slacker.